Oh, hey, welcome back. I didn't see you there. Welcome to part 3 of the 1966 Pontiac Grand Prix. Made a lot of headway on this car. We still got a ways to go. I need to get this interior buttoned up. Another part just showed up in the mail I was waiting for. Get this door panel back on, grease the tracks. We got to figure out what we're going to do with the exterior of this car. Is this paint going to clean up? Are we going to have to do something more than what I'm thinking? Is the chrome stainless steel going to shine up at all? That's yet to be determined. I went to the store, bought a few things to try out, give it a shot. Starting some inconspicuous areas, see what we can do as far as that, and then go from there. Let's dig in. I think these pliers are about as old as the car. That'll be fine. All right, guys, let's see what we can do with this paint here. I think the first thing we're going to try is a Brillo pad and some soapy water, Dawn water mixture here. We're getting into winter, and I'm poor. I can't afford to have running water out in the garage yet because I'm not heating the place. So we're going to give this a shot, and I figured let's start with this quarter panel here. Why? This is the one that had the big dent in it. If I'm going to further mess up this already messed up paint on this car, I think this will be the panel we do it on first, see what happens. So let's get started here and see what happens with this. The other thing I noticed, this pinstripe here, I'm not really worried about it. It's actually white on this side, and I'm sure some of you guys have already picked up on this. It's red on the other side. I don't know if somebody dropped the ball at the Pontiac factory back in the day, or if this is an aftermarket thing that somebody did, but yeah, not really worried if that goes away because I think it's only going to improve the looks of the car. So, got some soapy water on here. Let's give this a shot. Let's see what happens. Oof. About ate up a Brillo pad already. Let's see if we did anything at all. Well, we made some shiny, crappy paint. So that's kind of neat. Okay, guys, so in an attempt to make this less discouraging, I've now switched up to a SOS pad. We're still going to use the Dawn water mix. Figured we'd go to a panel that is not as paint damaged as what the quarter was. So let me start in a section on this door here. See what we can get this to look like. Here's the deal, guys. Spent way too many hours trying to figure out what to do with this paint. If I'd have spent just as many hours actually working on the paint as I have thinking about trying to figure out what to do with it, I'd have probably had something done by now, but I don't. This doesn't seem to be working. There is no bit of research I can do online to figure out what you're supposed to do patina-wise as far as wrinkled paint goes. So I think what we're going to do, I've come up with a decision. We're going to go to plan B. F, J. Let me just show you. So quick rundown. Wrinkled lacquer paint, I want to say 20, 30, 40-year-old paint job. Somebody did a respray, attempted to do something great. Everybody online, SOS pads, Comet Wash. Take the top layer off, blend it in with the rust. That's great. Pretty sure this paint was mixed with, you know, the hardener you put in paint when you mix it up to spray. I'm no body guy. I've seen a few videos. Instead of a hardener, I think they used Quickcrete on this stuff. Ouch. Instead of a hardener or something, laid it on too thick. I don't know. Anyways, I think I'm going to put a clear overcoat on this car. I think that's what we're going to do, but I don't think that's going to look very good with this alligator skin on it here. You can see what I mean. I don't think that's going to work out too well. There's some residue of the what's left of the SOS pad that was on there for maybe a minute or two. Mr. Brillo didn't hold up much better either. For that matter, we're chewing up sanding blocks too. So, got to come up with something here. So, I think what we're going to do is we're going to take this and get out of here. And we're going to try this. Made a trip to Harbor Freight today. Already had the palm sander. But went and picked up some 400 grit, 320 grit sandpaper. The sanding block I just showed you had some 400 on it. I did some experimenting, and it's not taking away the blue where I was hand sanding on it. And it was actually starting to take down the edges of this a little bit. So I'm thinking on these real rough spots, at least that's where we'll start. Let's get power tools out and see if we can at least burn down the rough edges of this a little bit. And it's all going to be experimenting here. I don't know if any of this is going to work. I think it might. It might take it down to a manageable level to where if we do lay a wipe-on clear coat on the car, it's not going to look like a glossy alligator then. So I know the car, it needs a paint job. And I've spent hours here trying to figure out what I can do to not ruin the paint. Then I got to thinking, I don't think there's anything you can do to ruin the paint. The paint's ruined already. So what can you do that's going to make it worse? I hope it's not going to make it worse, but that's what's going through my head right now anyway. So we're going to try this next. Like I said, we're going to start these real rough spots right here. I'm going to put the 400 on first, start buzzing some of these areas here, and see how far we go. Maybe go a little bit, check it, go a little further. I have a feeling we're going to know if we went too far. Somebody before me already started taking it down once. This was not me here. Bought the car this way. So really, there's nothing we can do about that. But really, I wouldn't feel right putting any paint on this car. If any car could talk, it would tell you a story. And apparently, this car has quite the story to it. And it would definitely tell the story of how someone attempted to take care of it in the 80s, 90s, and do the right thing, and give it a proper paint job. And who am I to take that away from it? I think if we could showcase that in a respectful manner, that just might be the way to go. So if we could get this burnt down to a somewhat smooth level without taking all of the color away and down to a primer or whatever's hiding underneath here, I think that'd be the best thing for us here. So let me get set up. That's what we're going to do next. So remember, guys, if you too seek that deep clear coat protection, that 3-stage type business, what do they call it these days? Ceramic coating, paint correction, maybe ceramic tile, I don't know. Come see me at Memory Lane Motorworks Detailing, and we will get it done. Well, progress has been made. Time to get on the rest of this car. So it is late, but we got some progress tonight. I'm gonna call it quits for now. We got all the rough edges, whatever you want to say, smoothed out. So the next step for this car is probably going to be an SOS pad wash, whatnot. Get all of the dust off of it. So after that, we'll have to see what we're working with, but I think might be ready for some clear coat. So I think I'm going to get some of that on order. We'll see what we can get done for the rest of this video. And probably call that good for this one. And we'll go from there. So the part I forgot to explain in the last video, this car came with a whole other driver's side quarter panel that is in darn near perfect condition. Guy that had this car before me spent some money on this. Had it shipped from across the United States in hopes to get it put on the car. So when I was saying and banging and clanging on this one, yeah, it really doesn't matter, because that for sure is going to go with the car and hopefully get installed by someone someday. But that's not where we're headed with it. So all right, guys, we'll see what happens within the next week here and see where we're at with the car. So we just got done cleaning underneath, as you can tell from the floor. Took the blowgun and got the first layer off of everything. Got a fuel leak I need to address. And get that patched up pretty quick. I think it's time to rebuild the frame on this thing. And by that I mean rebuild the frame on this thing. Make it look a little better. It'll also protect things underneath here a little more than bare metal sticking out. Very surprising though that most of these parts, I think there was a spot, here's another one actually. I think that's the original paint on the frame. It's pretty neat with a 50-some-year-old car to still see stuff like that. Yeah, overall, it's not too bad under here. There's a few spots. It needs a little work, but car's got a lot of potential, that's for sure. So, see if I can do something about this exhaust too. Excuse me. Get that seated back into place there. These springs, I lifted this car up on the pumpkin to change the tires out 1 video ago, 2 videos ago, whatever it was. And this rear end like shifted, as you can see, well, by this spring right here. Kind of fell out of its pockets. So I'll have to address that too, see if I can get this dropped down a little bit, get some tension off of those, get them seated back up into space, and go from there. Guys, we've gotten lucky weather-wise so far this year. Taping of this video, it is mid-December right now, and it's still 50, 52 degrees here in the shop. But since we're rebuilding frames tonight, needed a little warmer in here to get the paint to stick. So for the first time this year, for the record, in Ohio, we're firing up the torch. Heat this place up a little bit so we can get some paint to stick. So I ran into a bit of a snag as I was rebuilding the frame. Looked like gas, smelled like gas. Chased the line down. It's going right into the back of the brake distribution box. So that must mean that the top one's the brakes and the gas smell. I'm assuming that line right below it probably has a pinhole in it as well. But I was gearing up to fix a fuel line with a rubber hose and a couple of clamps. Now it looks like I'll be getting into brakes. So a little bit of a curveball, but needs fixed. Makes a little sense as to why I wasn't getting a whole lot of fluid back here when I was trying to bleed the brakes. So I think our other culprit will probably be this flex hose that needs replaced also. I already had intentions of replacing that. The rest of that metal line looked pretty good, but I guess we'll just go ahead and replace that as well. Gotta love curveballs. Come on. So that got dicey for a minute. Definitely found out that fuel tank is gravity feed. But yeah, we got it done. That brake line, I just had to kind of sit and cry about it for a minute. That didn't take that long, that wasn't that bad. But I ran a whole new line from the front. All the way to the back. So I'm gonna get these hoses I need on order. Hopefully hopefully get those rear brakes figured out then. Yeah, this fuel line, I was actually going to flare the ends of the lines before putting the hose on. That makes them seal a little better when applicable. But yeah, that kind of turned into a rush mode to get that done. So I'm really glad I spent the money on those little hose clamp pincher offer thingamajigs. They really work out, and I just put another 5 gallons of gas in this car, and I'm glad only 1.5 gallons of it hit the floor and is down stinging my armpit now. So that's okay. It is done. Hopefully no more leaks. I'm going to spray this down with brake clean one more time. Get the air hose off of it and get back to my frame rebuilding. Well, guys, I think that's going to do it for this episode on the 1966 Pontiac Grand Prix. It's time to get some parts on order, finish these brakes up. I need to get this exhaust welded up, tacked up back into place. Get a few more things buttoned up on the car. Like to get it to a point where I can start finishing up on it. I need to move on to some other things. I got a revival coming up that I'm really excited about. It's a car that means a lot to me, and it's a pretty cool machine. And we're gonna get there if you guys just bear with me through finishing this one up. I'd like to complete this project before I start another one. So that's where I'm at right now. Maybe see another video, maybe 2 on this car. I'm not sure. We got to do something with the paint on it too. Like I said, it's all coming up. I got to get a few things on order, and we'll go from there on it. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. If you haven't already, you could hit that like button, maybe subscribe to the channel. If you like content like this, I would greatly appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one.